Hello and welcome back to Raised on a Garden Pantry. I am Stephanie and today I'm going to show you how to use some of those tomatoes. This is just one picking from last night. Stay tuned to find out. Today we're going to make a tomato pie. Yes, I've had this tomato pie many times, but I have never made a tomato pie in my entire life or had one when I was younger. But I found this recipe several years ago and my family adores it. So we're gonna use these. Yes, I picked all these tomatoes last night and I still have more outside, but not as many this year because I wasn't focusing so much on the tomatoes. But anyway, let's get started on this delicious tomato pie. I have picked out a few tomatoes. These ones look really good here. We need 4 good sized tomatoes. I'm gonna do 5 because I have a few of them that have a little nick in here. Now, the thing, you want to get the skins off. So the best way I have found to get the skins off and easy without getting out of my dishwasher, just a minute. Opened it so it wouldn't be on because it's a little noisy. Anyway, the best thing I have found is I just use my kettle for my tea and I just pour water over it and let it sit. It works really good without getting a whole bunch, and sometimes they're a little too hot. You can score them too, but if you just let them sit here for a few minutes, those skins will just peel right off. Okay, they're already starting to split. So I'm gonna pull them out here, let them just cool just a second because they're gonna be hard, or they're gonna be a little hot, just a little hot to touch. So that was the simplest. See, they split real easy. See? I don't know if this one has. We'll just let those ones sit for a few minutes. Now we're just gonna lay these tomatoes out on some paper towel. You can use a dishcloth if you want, but just remember it's going to get that tomato juice on it. So sometimes paper towels are just easier. So, all right, so all you wanna do is sprinkle these generously. And the whole goal is, not too much salt, but the whole goal is to pull that water off. So we're gonna let these sit for 10 or 15 minutes. So this is how I roll it out without using, I just take a parchment paper here, and I just roll it out between 2 pieces of parchment paper. The recipe that I have makes a 2 double crust pie. I'm gonna be quite honest. It is really hard to roll out 4 crusts with this recipe because they are super thin, and I have found that this works the best for me, and I don't have to pull out a lot of flour. So I'm going to roll this out and get it shaped, and this really, really, truly does help. Oh, I bumped the camera, sorry. It really, truly does help to really get that pie crust thin. And it makes it so much easier, and there's just not flour everywhere and everything. Now I think that's about perfect, but this one rolled out really beautifully. Okay, so all I do is take off the top, and then I put my pie crust in here, and it sticks to it, and it's gonna stick to it. So, and then I just kind of line it up, make sure I get it. Now, if you do not want to go through all this trouble, you can buy pie crust pre-made. Yes, you can. You can buy them in the box, in the refrigerated section. You can even buy them frozen in a pie tin already, ready for you. So I just happen, you know, I just make my stuff because I have the ingredients here and this is just what I do. But no shame if you are not a pie crust person, or if you think this is too difficult for you. Oopsie, it got a little there. That's fine. By all means, buy that crust. And I have before too, so don't think that. It just depends if I want to do it. It is a little bit of a work. Now you just want to gently kind of pick it up and set it down in there, and then you'll have a nice, you know, so you can make your edge. Now sometimes, like here, I got a little more than over here. So you can take some of this crust right here and you can just pat it in. It's no big deal. Pie crust is very forgiving, and the only thing with pie crust, when you make it fresh, you want it to sit. Let it rest, because it makes your pie crust taste so much better, even if it's for a half an hour or an hour or overnight. It's a lot easier to work with when it's cooler. Okay, so now my oven is ready. I hear it in the background. We're going to tuck these under as much as possible, and if we have too much over on this side, we can steal it when we can shift it and rotate it a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna do this first, and then I'm gonna put that piece of that parchment paper right back inside here. This back in here, well, maybe I don't want too much. I'm gonna cut a little off. We're gonna put this right in here, and we're going to grab, now I have some beans back here that I use, you know, have written pie beans on there. So to pre-bake, you're going to want to do this. You're going to put those in there. Why are we doing this? It's so our crust doesn't shrink, but you must put something down. A piece of paper. I got tin foil, no plastic wrap. That will melt. I usually just use parchment paper. Works good. And you want to put that in there so your crust doesn't shrink down. There may be a little bit of shrinkage, but it's okay. To the garden, and I picked some fresh basil, and this is what my basil is looking like. It is so scrawny. It's terrible this year. It still smells delicious, but I don't know. It must be not a very good year for basil. My neighbor next door, basil didn't look very good. Actually, I think she pulled it out, or maybe she used it all. But yeah, this is like, the plant was maybe like, this is probably half of the plant. Usually it's big and beautiful, but that's okay. You know what? I really didn't need that much basil this year, just a little bit to make things here and there. I usually have so much I don't even know what to do with it. I made pesto, and I still have some pesto from last year in the freezer. So, you know, everything works out and it's fine. So this is my basil plant. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick these off and I'm gonna chop them up and have them ready so we can get rolling. So I just pulled this out of the oven. And all we're gonna do is lift this up, out. We'll just put that back there. And now we're going to take our mozzarella cheese and we're gonna put in about a cup in the bottom, or just put it on the, as you know, fill it on the bottom. We're gonna let this melt, and the rest, we're gonna use the rest of this with the other. And now we're gonna take this Parmesan cheese and we're going to sprinkle it on top of the mozzarella. Ooh, clumpy. And that's all we do. And we're going to let this form a melt and get nice and to form a layer to so the crust doesn't get soggy. Simple as that. Now the next thing we have is our tomatoes. They've been sitting here longer than 20 minutes. So that's why I started them first. But you could have, you know. And now we're just gonna pat these dry. And I looked at the directions and it said to use 2 teaspoons of salt over your tomatoes. So if you want to measure that out and do that while you're doing it, feel free and go ahead. So you want to get out the moisture, and you're going to pull some of the salt off for sure too. While we're waiting for this to cool, we're going to make the topping. So we need a half a cup of mayonnaise. I'm just going to kind of guess here. So just don't really want to clean out that measuring cup. It's probably about a half a cup of mayonnaise. Okay, so it's about the same, of mayonnaise. And you're going to want 2 tablespoons of flour here. And then you want 2 eggs. And we're gonna beat and mix this up together to make, and this is going to go on top of your pie after we have it assembled. But we'll just do this while we're waiting here. Okay, we just want to mix this up real well. Now my daughter is not a mayonnaise person. She does not care for it very much, but she will eat this pie. It's funny. I think she just doesn't want to eat it, like, she's just not a big fan of ranch or mayonnaise based dressings, but she will eat it if it's in something. And I'll say, well, I had mayonnaise in it. And she's like, oh, that was really good. I just doesn't think she likes to eat it, the direct taste of it. I'm going to take these tomatoes and we're just going to line up in here as much as possible. Get them in here. Hopefully all these will fit. They should. They'll cook down, remember. And that layer of cheese is going to help keep that crust nice and crisp and not get soggy. Actually, I'm going to sprinkle a little basil in between here. Now you can use your dried basil. This one's got a little hair. Cut that tomato snip off. And now you can use dried basil, absolutely. Actually, the original recipe says to use dried basil, but I have fresh, so let's use it. Okay, so yes, we're gonna get all this in, and remember, we'll cook down. Okay, this is looking good. It's coming together. Perfect. I'm glad I used that extra tomato because we want a nice full pie. Now, take the rest of your basil, whatever you want, do it to your taste. Oh, I forgot that you were supposed to add the rest of your Parmesan. Let me turn this around here. The rest of your Parmesan to your mixture here, and now another cup of sharp cheddar cheese. And then you want to mix this up together. I honestly, it seems kind of like I'm frazzled. I feel like I'm a little frazzled. I don't know why when I'm making this today, but this comes together really simple. Now to make this your life, we're gonna dump this on top of our pie. Now to make your life easier and it to go smoother, just buy that crust and pre-bake it and do all that. Skip that step. But really it wasn't that big of a deal for me. Okay, so we're gonna get this on here. All of it on, and then we're going to spread it around. Oh, this is gonna be so good. My husband and boys are out working in the wood today, and it's super hot, and they're gonna come in here, and this should be ready. This will be all ready for them, and they'll be in love. They'll be really happy. Oops. So there, I'm just trying to get it all down in there. All right. Next, I'm going to actually take, I think, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to let this bake, and then after it's baked, I might sprinkle it with some fresh basil, because if I put it on now, it'll burn. So now we're going to bake this at 350 for, let's see, 35 to 40 minutes. And then we're going to pull it out. We're going to let it cool for another 30, and then we will enjoy it. Here it is. Here is the pie. It cooked up beautifully. Now, you just need to wait about 30 minutes to cut that. That's the hardest part. It'll be so hot. But you want to eat this pie warm, so you don't have to wait hours and hours to eat it. Oh, it's gonna be so good. My boys just came in from playing in the wood pile. It's so hot today. One of them's in the pool. They're gonna jump in the pool and they'll probably have this for lunch. And I will probably take a little bite of it too. So 30 minutes and we'll be back. Here it is. Look how gorgeous this is. Now it's been sitting a little longer than 30 minutes. Oh, wonderful. The crust is cooked. Let's give it a try. I haven't had this since last summer. Get some of the tomato and the cheese topping and the crust. Here we go. Mmm. So delicious. So good. Mmm. There's a lady on YouTube that eats and then slaps the counter. That's what I want to do with this recipe. Oh, everybody should give this a try. If you don't grow your own tomatoes, no problem. I'm sure you can find somebody that does. At this time of year, they're overflowing in people's gardens. They'll be happy to give you some. Mmm. Mmm. So good. It's worth making. So I hope you give this one a try. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.